So, as a warlock, I mean, I can remote view my past lives really quick. So, as a caveman, when I was a tribal master, I run like 12 fucking tribes. And we're all diplomatic to other tribes that come near, but we just tell them, you know, straight up, look, we're a lot of motherfuckers and you don't want to fuck with us. Don't hunt around here. Go somewhere else. So that's how we ran things. We didn't want to get injured, and we did fight when bigger clans would come near, but it was just by proxy. And that shit happened. That's how we got most of our deaths or injuries, by just getting in fights. So we tried not to do that. It's a mechanical injury, being a warrior. So cavemen tried not to do that, you know, as best they could. They tried to be, you know, non-biased and everything, you know, towards other tribes, but just, hey, you can't hunt around here. It's real simple. Okay. All right.
You know, see you later.
And then they would build giant bonfires as big as a fucking 3-story house underneath the ground in like a cave. And then they would create, the whole camp would just be so warm on top. All the insects would be sterilized. Any insects that would fly in didn't want to fucking land on the ground because it's all hot as fuck in certain areas. So, I mean, the caveman lived pretty, you know, cold-free in cold environments many of the time because of that. So we didn't exactly live out of all the time caves, but yeah, we utilized them too.
For living space.
Depending on the situation and the ventilation, if we could build a fire and it wouldn't be all smoky in there, you know, yeah. But the truth is, you know, cavemen knew a lot of things. You know, they knew how to keep their entire fucking camp warm. Okay? So you won't hear about this in history books because they don't want to describe a lot of the things. See, a lot of these cavemen were from antediluvial break-off civilizations, from, if you will, space travelers. And they were constructed to be what they are now, you know. So cavemen are, just like you are, all mixed with various kinds of humans to make a particular kind. Now, it doesn't mean all of them succeeded, because a lot of them were experimentation stuff. As a warlock, I can tell you this planet, well, we live on, is terraformed, okay? The beings terraformed it. They used Mars first to supply a lot of genetics and to test various kinds of creatures. And they started with dinosaurs. I forget what reasons partake to that, but because they can subvert timelines, what we know as time, these beings don't really have an issue with creating a giant, millions of years go by to us, and to them it's like fucking 1 week, technically. I mean, if you want to call it
that. They can manipulate time, and this is a giant experiment.
This planet, every terraformed planet is a form of experiment, because at some point, you know, they may have to do different things. And when a planet is terraformed, it needs to be 100%. And if it's not, they have to do different things. Here, they fucked up at about 78% or something like that, or 88%. I forget what the technical, but the planet was essentially terraformed, but they couldn't do what they wanted to originally with it. For whatever reasons, supplies and stuff like that. So as a warlock, I can remote view what happened.
So there was a dispute contractually because they fucked up, and as a result, the planet actually became something other than it was supposed to be. Now it's just a storage location. This is considered an outdoor warehouse for us.
Underground, there's beings that we have no clue about, or most people don't know about. And there's the big size drones and stuff aren't really drones. I mean, the UFOs are a little bit interested in our activities right now. So it's a UFO flap. They're just trying to call it drones.
Because we have drones.
So why wouldn't they call it drones? Yeah, but really, we got UFOs and drones
in the motherfucking skies out there.
Okay, guys? The reason is because there's covert shit going on that nobody knows about. And, you know, like in the past, they would eventually tell you, okay, well, we can't talk about that. It's a national security issue.
Nowadays, they just lie all the way. So just remember that.
But anyway, the terraformers are broke off into little populations that have since been broken of their contract.
Mixed up with demons, mixed up with fallen angels, you know, if you will. That's what the religious part kind of throws everything into a bungle.
Bullshit. Okay, the truth is, the beings were fired. Their contract was fired. They're so well, you signed it, the dotted line, came out here to terraform, but you didn't get the job done.
You go live under asteroids and shit here, you can't go back home.
That was the contract. You signed here.
Okay.
So the beings that were doing the terraforming had an option to live here now. And so that's what's up. Now, they wish they could probably
have the outside of the planet too,
but they have no control over it. The beings that control them are literally
from another dimension. So, I mean,
for them to do certain things, and they have to follow the orders.
essentially we're all a form of slave.
Technically speaking, from these beings, not necessarily the mankind, but these beings, we're a technical storage to them. You know, they grab us off the shelf anytime they want and use us. Okay, so as a warlock, these are the things I can.
Things I can remove view now.
When I was a caveman, go back to caveman. Cavemen also had ties to those beings more than you would realize. They were some of them were chipped right into their system and were able to survive a little longer than a normal hominids and stuff like that, you know. So they were advanced, you know. Also,
they were learning how to get involved with, if you will, the extraterrestrials internet, which is kind of like magic. It is magic.
Anything that lives outside of this planet is likely in orbit, rather, or in space, can't travel in space, is considered a warlock. Once you can do that shit, you're basically online to be a warlock. I'm an earthbound warlock, so that means all my activities are right here. Although I can, you know, just like astral travel
if I want to, wherever you want to call that shit.
So once I knew that, I started to find out I was a warlock.
And I did other things. I've made vans stop and not be able to move even though the tires were skidding.
Just like the movie Carrie, you know, except I'm not a witch. I'm a warlock. Warlocks are about procreation, growth. Similar, we were actually implanted here for terraforming reasons and stuff as well to kind of maintain. And even Jesus could be considered directly related to the terraformers.
Even Jesus could be considered directly related to the terraformers.
So